Recording has started.
104.7 The Cave.
Whoa, that
Mike
was
the
quick.
Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. This is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 84. This week was Jay's pick.
Just because of the echo thing. Right? Hang on, let me get
And
this one
while
there.
Jay fixes his
You know,
equipment,
there's always audio issues.
this was Jay's pick.
This was my
and
pick, yeah.
It was a documentary produced for HBO Max called Gaming Wall Street. Now, I want to thank Jay for picking a documentary that wasn't like 5 episodes. This was only 2. But very
Easy
interesting documentary on how Wall Street works and how
Wall Street scams.
well, yeah. And we'll get into that in just a second. But before we do that, we always kind of like to look into each other's lives. Have you or do you currently invest in the market, Jay Stevens?
Just a little bit, not a whole lot, but it's very I did take part in this thing that they were filming about because I just wanted to kind of be part of the movement.
Okay.
So I just did a little bit just to be part of
to
be part of the movement.
Do you subscribe to Wall Street Bets on Reddit? Do you get on there?
Yeah. And also it was very similar to like the Bitcoin movement. So
that's what I was
I
going to say.
appreciated what they did.
It kind of felt the same.
Very, very Bitcoinish as well. So I'm anything that's against the big banks, I approve of and I will support.
Yeah, anything against the man, but if it has to do with my own money at the same time, I feel like someone's going to screw me, whether they're the big man or the little man. Everyone's always out to get you. It doesn't matter who, and that's kind of hand in hand what goes on along with this story, but we'll get into that a little bit. But do you still do the Bitcoin thing?
I have some, yeah. I'm not as deep in the scene as I was. Like, I don't
Dude, this guy every day he come in. Dude, every day for that period of time, it was like Jay would not. I was like, "What is that word?"
And look at it now, man. It's,
I'm just gonna go buy another
45 grand. Look at that, man.
Hey, you know what?
We knew it. We were ahead of the curve.
You got the money, and that's great. I'm more of an investor in tangible items, i.e., records. And that's where I invest in. I do obviously have 401k and stuff like that, but it's kind of the low risk. I'm young still, kind of model, so it's just spread over a bunch of stuff. But
you're in there with the man. You're in bed with the man.
And they're screwing me left and right, I'm sure. Just like it talks about in this documentary about how
these guys found a glitch in the matrix, and they were hammering it to the man, and the man still got
they did and they didn't. They found something that people that are educated have been exploiting for a very long time, and people like myself who just made that statement, I have a 401k and it's investing in stuff I don't even know about. The big dogs are taking those opportunities to either benefit or screw you, either way. But it's all about education, and that's what we're going to discuss today. Gaming Wall Street, Dark Side of the Stream, next on 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 84, discussing Jay's pick this week, Gaming Wall Street. Now, there's a saying that I think definitely needs to be mentioned with this, is that everyone cheats on their taxes, right?
Who would do such a thing?
You make claims of things that, may be on the line. You do this stuff. The people that don't do that are just getting taken advantage of. The people that do are using the system into their benefit. Because
but don't you think some people take it to an extreme though? Like, I feel some of these big ass businesses like Amazon and stuff should be paying more taxes.
Well, of course,
right?
Like,
I feel like it's a scam. Right?
Last week we talked about religion, so I'm not going to go there. But there are entities I believe that should definitely be taxed in this country that get. They get handouts. It's just a big money making game. But it goes like hand in hand with what we're talking about today. This documentary tells a story about basically how a subreddit on a website, if you're not familiar, called Reddit, where there's a bunch of these quote subreddits that can do with literally anything. It
chat boards,
it could be 80s rock or music or bands specifically or movies or specific TV shows or just stupid things.
If you haven't been on there, get on there and check it out. You could probably find a little community you like.
Yeah, good waste of time. But there is a subreddit on there, and it basically started with this subreddit called Wall Street Bets. And they had heard through the buy that there was something going on with GameStop stock. So what they did as a community in part was to like get these stocks valued at over 600% more than they were worth at the time, based in what they did as a small time community. And when they were going through this, all of these, invest yourself apps and websites started squashing what they were doing because it was making the market.
They were
go
exploiting
crazy.
the big hedge funds were
essentially getting hurt.
They caught them with their pants down basically, and then they kept on hammering it home, and they really had them against the ropes until obviously shady backdoor deals went down.
Do what we say, not what we do.
Now you do what they tell you,
which is messed up. Because you've got these hedge funds and these managers and these people on Wall Street that have literally been doing this,
rigged the game forever,
decades.
The one time they get against the ropes,
you get a group of people that are like, whoa, we finally got a piece, and we're gonna put it right back on you. And all these people are like, oh my God, we're losing all this money. We're losing all this money. Well, dude, you guys have been screwing people for decades. It's finally great to see someone get a taste of it.
It was awesome to kind of just watch the whole thing go down in real time. And
that was cool. That was a cool part of the documentary. Again, like I said, I think the biggest takeaway from this one was education.
I think that's what they said too.
If you want it, if you're being
an investor, educate yourself a little bit.
You can figure out how to do this. It takes a lot of time. And I mean, like, how many videos of, like, just the Bitcoin thing, for example, how many videos and time did you take every day watching that stuff?
A lot, man. I mean, when we were mining Bitcoin, I mean, it was basically took up an entire day of you talking to people and getting leads, and you find, like in the early days, when Bitcoin was like 200 a coin, it was really hard to get it. It was really hard to figure it out. And we kind of taught ourselves how to do it all and kind of like read charts.
This is the way it works, and it's going to work.
And trusting. There was a lot of trust. I mean, we would send $10,000, $15,000 across the internet to people we didn't know and sites we didn't know. And we got lucky. There were people that get screwed. We got lucky that we didn't get screwed.
Not me. People get screwed having Bitcoins in a storage drive that they can't remember the encrypt password for. I talked to a guy who had, I don't remember how many coins, spent it all on drugs in the early days on Silk Road. I mean,
one guy spent
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, early days, sent a guy the first Bitcoin transaction. The guy sent 10,000 Bitcoin to another guy if he would order him 2 pizzas delivered to his house, and he paid him 10,000 Bitcoin to get 2 pizzas, and he thought that was a great deal because Bitcoin was so worthless. But now that would have been worth what, $4 billion or something?
Something so unbelievable, you can't even imagine. But point of this is that this documentary should, if you do watch it, show you that there is an ability for us as
retail investors.
It is with the term, that you should have the ability to play on the same stage. And that's the way the system is supposedly done. But would you say that's the way it works?
No,
Jay?
it's definitely
it's not that
rigged.
way.
The whole financial system is so rigged, and it's such a Ponzi
ballot,
scheme.
Man, it is. You see
we see the way my hand's going. We see the problems with the dollar. It's just falling apart. Man.
It sucks, man. Well, we're discussing money today. Dark side of the stream. Try not to get too depressed.
This is not financial advice, by the way.
We'll be back in 1 second.
We legally have to say that, I think.
.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, dark side of the stream, discussing Gaming Wall Street, the documentary, 2-parter on HBO Max, came out in March. Really
easy
well
watch.
Let's get into the production of this. A bunch, because this was big news when it happened last year. It was really, really big news. Because essentially you had a bunch of, guys that were on a forum saying they were controlling what was happening to certain stocks. They did it with GameStop. They tried to do it to AMC. But by that point, they were basically like, the man was putting his hand down and said, enough's enough.
Which, by the way, this battle is still going on. GME and AMC are still retail versus big bank stuff's going on.
Which is just unbelievable. So at the time, when they started filming this, which was a little bit over a year ago, it was really secret because there were a bunch of other documentaries being made at the same time about the same thing, right? And so what I read was that they were very secretive in this, so much so that they actually hired a team of editors to compile all the footage, working parallel together in complete secret for almost 4 months, not knowing what the other guys were working on, not knowing, Was it really? But my point is, was it really as a documentary when you're watching it? Because I watched it and I was like, okay, because I knew a lot about this story because I read this stuff. I think I'm just like Jay when I'm like, if it's a man if it's a little guy not sticking to the man, I love that stuff.
We support that.
Despite the fact that I'm not other than 401k investing in the market like a retail investor. I'm not like in it. I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time to do it right. If I had the time and I had time to sit on my butt and not do anything, hell yeah, maybe I'd try to make a little bit of money. But right now, that's just not where my head's at. But watching this documentary, do you think it was really necessary? Did it show you that these guys worked in secret for 4 months? I mean, it was like,
I was surprised to hear you say that.
That's what I said. I was like, what? What are you guys talking about?
But it also sounds like how that community operates.
Maybe they were scared that some of these people will put the squash on it for what they were doing. Maybe I don't know, but it was so out in the open that hell, you could. These guys have been playing this game for so long now and trying to fight back in this that it didn't seem like it was a little bit overdone. Maybe that's part of the mystique of the documentary. I'm not sure, but when I heard that, I was like, really? Weird, yeah. I don't know why you do that. Anyway, we're going to get back with our reviews on this and what we're watching next. Dark Side of the Stream, Game in Wall Street, 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, back in the studio one more time for this riveting edition of Gaming Wall Street from
Dark Side of the Stream.
Dark Side of the Stream, HBO Max. So how many used copies of, let me think of a good game here. Battletoads. How many used copies of Battletoads would you give this?
I'll just go 2.5,
2.5?
Yeah.
You felt like you're just telling me stuff. I
knew the story, and I wanted a little bit more from the documentary, but it's good. And it was good that in the end, this documentary and these guys did bring light to what's going on, and the SEC, and some of them got called to the hearings, to the SEC hearings, and some of these nerds, the one guy, Roaring Kitty, his actual screen name, and they said it there in the meetings. Great effing value is the name of his, and so they are all these congressmen saying this, and he's like, I made a bunch of $1 million off this thing. Pretty funny stuff.
It's got to make you mad.
It definitely makes you mad.
I would.
It does make you mad.
I agree with you. It'd be about 3 used copies of Battletoads because I knew most of this stuff. I thought it was kind of some of the secrecy stuff was overblown. But
if you're not familiar with what happened, watch it. It's it's interesting.
And if you got the time,
pop culture.
Be a retail investor. I mean, this stuff it's happening right now. Like I said, it should make you really pissed off. Here's my soapbox moment: that you have elected leaders in Congress right now that are able to trade stocks on the market openly.
Before they make buys and then they go pass bills to support those buys. It's scandalous.
You happen every day. Happens on both sides.
Both sides.
Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, liberals,
sides.
conservatives
They're all doing
have been screwing you for decades because they are allowed to game on the Wall Street market. Vote them out. Term limits, get them out of there. That's crap. I'm not saying that I agree with everything he says, but recently John Oliver had a thing about where he had a bunch of digital history from some of our congressmen and was going to release it unless they put a ban on taking ours, which I think is fair and what happened in the UK. So hopefully we can follow suit. But you know what? It's always do as we say, not as we do in this country. So like I said, if it's time for you to do your taxes, cheat like everyone else. And when it comes to Wall Street,
this is not financial advice, man, once again.
Not everyone in this day and age, help your neighbor and all that stuff. But when it comes to money, screw that. Bottom lines. Anyway, my pick for next week's Dark Side of the Stream is The Puppet Master.
Ooh,
Hunting the Ultimate Con Man.
All right.
You should watch this
another con man documentary
with your girl.
I'm going to have the girl watch it, so I look that much better.
Even more. As always, you can watch these live on Facebook. You can watch them on YouTube. You can stream them for free as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app. Live every Thursday, 9 a.m. It's Dark Side of the Stream. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you
we watch documentaries so you don't have to.
Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7.